Hello, and welcome to the Roll4It Aftershow of episode 9? Halloween special. So how did that go?
Hello.
It was fun.
Much blood was shed.
A lot of it yours.
Yeah,
Some of it was
I was.
some of it was just sort of compressed into a ball and burned, which wasn't so nice.
Yeah, I was not pleasantly surprised at how easy it was for us to murder those guys. But I guess it could have been the other way around. Like we could have also been easily murdered by them.
Brando was very close to being easily murdered, to be fair.
Yeah,
That's
there were
true.
multiple times where I could have just been outright killed.
And
And
if
One of them
Brander
was
had
when he
gone
was alone
down,
with me. I mean, come on.
like if he had gone down,
then as well.
they would have rushed us, and then it would have been game over because I can't fight those guys. Like I'd still be casting into melee.
I did
Shen can't fight him.
That
Like
was
none
a
of
good
us have
thing.
any melee
Like,
skills. Like, eh.
because I was like, I shouldn't rush in, but evil Brander would rush in, so I'm going to rush in. And I'm like,
definitely.
this is bad, but I am keeping two of them busy, so I guess if I die here, I still helped.
Yeah,
You
to be
worked out
honest,
fine.
you were taking damage when you got hit, and that was like the moments when you were like, oh shit, we're going down. But you managed to lock two of them down really quickly, Splat, and then Bentham locked two of them down. It was like,
No, Warp Vortex is legit. It was if I had done it on stiffer people, that like could have taken the damage better. Like that would have been amazing for mooks. Like that would have been like the spell for dealing with like a bunch of little dudes, because it just eats them alive. Like they don't have the stats to escape from that, and they don't have the fate to re-roll or anything. It's just that the one guy had high agility, so he was out lickety split, and then the other guy had so high of armor that it didn't really hurt him that much. Like it did like 2 or 3 a turn, but at least it held him in place
Eventually
though,
it
so that was
warmed down.
nice.
yeah, like he
Yeah,
was
it was
ignoring
eventually.
10 points of it. He was basically like Carolina's toughness because he's a tech priest.
Yeah. But it kept
Like
him
how
from
both
dogpiling on
players-
Brander, so it was good.
Like how both pairs of enemies died at the same time as well, so I'm going to claim that Brander is as good as one of those whirlpool death things.
Well, I think what it comes down to is it was a snowball effect. Like, that fight was basically even between both teams. Like, we could essentially one-shot each other at any moment between Shen's, like, laser blasts, your crazy two-handed thing. I was dropping the 1d10 pen 8s on people left and right. And then Avic had the ability to do the exact same thing. It just came down to whoever lost a person first. And from there, it was going to dogpile because the other team couldn't put out enough DPS to offset the fact that they had lost members. And so it could have gone either way, really. If we'd lost you on the second turn, that probably would have been reversed by quite a bit.
Mm. You would have been able to focus on the guys on the other side, and they would have borne down and caused trouble.
Yeah, and because
'Cause
I
I
could
coulda
have
held off.
charged forwards, Lazari would have charged forwards, they'd have engaged, Splat probably killed you not too slowly.
It depends. I've got the Demon Blade and everything like that, so I could have parried and whatnot, but I would have been eating up Fate. I mean, I'm sitting at 40 weapon skill, so not amazing. Good enough to maybe luck my way through it, but I can only parry one person, and so if I parry Lasaria, I'm eating that spear, and if I parry the spear, I'm eating that Lasaria hit.
I'll be
so it's
honest,
like-
if they had rushed you and not rushed me for some stupid reason, with you and Garrett right there and then them two on you, I literally would have just turned around and sprayed flame
I wouldn't
all
have
over
blamed
the
you.
lot of you.
I wouldn't have blamed you for a second. My first attempt would have been to cast a void behind them and hope they get sucked into it so I could disengage and run. But if that didn't work, I wouldn't have blamed you. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I like the fact that even though you missed with a grenade, by the way, you still hit the Inquisitor.
I know.
Yeah.
That was so
It was
lucky.
Slingshot it
beautiful.
around the black hole.
Like, it was such a good thing you re-rolled and got worse, because if you hadn't got worse, it wouldn't have had enough range to get there.
That is literally what I re-rolled for. I was like, well, I could roll worse, but honestly, if I roll worse, at least I've got a chance that I'll hit something rather than simply miss, because this is going to be too far away from anything to do damage.
Yeah,
The
Failing
angle
up.
was perfect.
Mm.
We're locked in combat, and it hits him and not me.
I know. So good. So amazingly good. That was the best roll. And
Also, here's a fun
Go.
thing. I didn't use any fate in that battle. In the end, I should have used fate the first time I was hit when I parried and messed up. That was dumb. But then after that, I always just did well without the
Yeah.
fate, and
But
then
would a
spent one
follower-
to make sure I unfrenzied.
Like, would a follower of Korn actually use Fate, though? That seems like a cowardly wizard tactic. Like, he wants to get all in there and just berserk his way through. No
Yeah, but
support.
also
Consider
like
it
the
sheer
Chaos
force
Gods.
of will.
like, twisting things so that you have a better chance.
So
He-
who's
he,
it for
like-
the good guys, then? Because the Emperor's not really affecting anything. I don't think the Emperor actually does shit anymore. I think he just kind of sits in his throne and holds back the darkness, but he doesn't affect like individual things happening.
Well, I heard that.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he holds back the darkness. That's quite a lot for one thing to do.
Keeps the Astronomicon going.
He's basically completely keeping the humans' access to the webway functional. That's pretty big.
Not functional so much as sealed.
Yes.
But we got to feed him like tens of thousands of babies a day. That's the only way he's able to do it.
No, that's the Astronomicon. He still keeps the webway sealed.
Yeah.
Well, the Astronomicon is a choir. Yeah. They don't kill people for that. I think it's there's a choir that constantly sings for the Astronomicon, and there's a bunch of psychers killed all the time.
That's the one they sacrifice the psychers for, because it's the burning out of psycho minds that causes the bright light.
Yep. So that you can actually see it throughout the warp when you're navigating as an astropath.
Yeah, and it's focused by the Emperor. But his main purpose in the Golden Throne is keeping the webway sealed.
Mm-hmm. Like I swear I read somewhere, but maybe this is like Imperium propaganda that he's like just crusading around the warp, killing demons.
Propaganda.
Well,
probably.
The thing is,
it's a mix over with Sigmar, because that's what Sigmar was literally doing. Is he got thrown into the warp, and then he just ran around trouncing motherfuckers for like 1,000 years, and then he came back, and Tzeentch was like, "Well, that was a shitty plan."
Like Kaldor Driego.
Yes.
The Grey Knight leader who just runs around repeatedly killing demons, except it's pointless because demons can't be killed in the warp. He just does it anyway.
My thing with Sigmar is I don't know why they wrote it that way. Like, Tzeentch cannot possibly be that dumb. Like, oh, I'm going to trap him on the other side. No, you just let him level up. He ran around killing shit on the other side until he leveled up and became a literal god. Tzeentch, you're an idiot.
I love the way you frame that, but that is effectively what it is. You just kill enough stuff, you become a god. That's the way it works.
He fought nonstop for like 1,000 years, just kicking the shit out of greater demons. You made him better at his job. You could have just left him in the real world.
Would have died eventually.
It's like giving a firefighter an endless string of fires to constantly put out and learn everything about the nature of fire.
I'm not sure that's how firefighting works, but you know what? I choose to believe that's how it works from now on. I like this.
It's like leveling up.
Fighting.
Well, that'd be what it is if there's like a fire dimension in the universe that you can teleport firefighters into.
And you bring them back after about 50 years of training, and quite a lot of them die. But the ones that haven't died, the ones that survived for 50 years in literal fire dimension, they come back and they're just this stoic. They don't talk much. But their presence alone extinguishes fires. You don't know how they do it. But their existence in proximity to a fire quashes it. Just snuffs it out.
Eventually you find like the strongest one that has ascended to godhood, and just by being in the material realm, fire cannot happen.
Yep. All the suns
and then all
go
cars
out.
stop working.
And
all
Yep. Sun's gone. The heat death of the universe is just accelerated because he's literally he is anti-thermodynamics. Everything accelerates towards entropy, and it's gone. Heat death.
Wait, how can it accelerate towards entropy if he's anti-thermodynamics?
Oh, that's true. They couldn't accelerate.
It would be, if anything, going the other way, which would be physically impossible. But then again, he does snuff out all fire in the universe.
Yeah, exactly. So. You don't argue it, man. It's magic. Physics magic is the worst kind of magic.
What would happen if you snuffed out the sun? What would happen to the sun itself?
If you literally stop the nuclear process, it would start again because it's starting because of the pressure.
Yeah, but what if you're constantly suppressing it? Would it collapse or would it expand? I think it would collapse.
I don't know smart things.
It's like, this conversation is gone beyond the realms in which I feel comfortable.
This is what happens when we don't have XP.
We need to talk about rocks. We need to get Splat involved.
Splat, tell us about like rare earth magnets.
Rare earth magnets. That's not my area of expertise either.
Oh, my God. Tell me about granite.
Granite. Good old granite. You got your plagioclase. You got your potassium feldspar. Sometimes you got a little bit of biotite in there. I mean, honestly, you can be like specialized in granite. You can be like, there are so essentially what happens is at different temperatures, it'll solidify different crystals inside the matrix. and it'll allow different things to come together based on like the chemical elements that are there. And so you can end up with, it's a spectrum. There's a triangle, and it's got potassium feldspar, it's got plagioclase, and it's got something else. And depending on the combination, you'll end up with like 1,000 different things on little hexes in between. It's seriously, somebody studied the shit out of this.
But granite, and everyone loves it. They're all wrapped. They're just standing around him like in a circle. They're not like paying attention to the music or the booze. They just listen to
Don't even ask them about limestone.
Oh.
Fuck limestone. That's sedimentary. That's outside my area.
Sandstone?
It better have crystals and it better come from lava. Otherwise, I don't give a fuck.
Basalt?
Salt's cool. It's all right. I still prefer, like, for example, if you got granite and then you turn it into marble, you can get some cool stuff in there just as a result of like the metamorphic stuff, because you got enough pressure and heat to like grow actual gemstones. Start to get that good stuff in there.
This is an actual conversation that is actually happening right now. It's not ironic. This is real talk about stones.
I studied this for 4 years.
Okay, I talk about bones.
I talk about thinking machines.
I talk about thinking biological things.
Thinking. I just talk about thinking. The act
I had a legitimate class in college where we had to count grains of sand. You take a sample from the beach, and then you bring it back to the lab, and you do what's called a cycle count or a grain count, where you take the little tiny things with tweezers.
You saying the word knee.
Huh?
Was your professor fond of saying the word knee?
No.
He hadn't approved the word it.
This is what sedimentologists do. You put it on a microscope, you look, and you've got a little clicker with 4 buttons for all of the main chemical constituents of whatever rock that came from. It'll have like biotite or like potassium feldspar, and you look at it and you go, quartz.
See, the thing is,
click,
this is actually really important knowledge.
Feldspar,
it's built
click.
into stuff really seriously take for granted and need. But...
And that's what interns are for.
Yep.
How many grains of sand can you count per hour?
Statistically, you only need to do like 100 or 200, because then from there you can just extrapolate with statistics.
Okay.
So usually you do about 100 or 150 or so.
How long does it take you?
Couple hours. We'd put on a movie because we had a projector in the lab, and so we'd put on a movie or something, and you would just do it and like drink beer and get drunk while you were doing it too.
And you get the data wrong, and millions would die.
Drunk science never leads to errant data. Ever.
Nah.
Never leads to anything wrong.
The way we saw it, we're not getting paid, so we might as well enjoy ourselves. He's probably not even going to put us in at all, so fuck him.
Monthly training a neural net leads to some interesting shit. That leads to some very, very bizarre behavior from the learned, mostly the learning, because if you're building it, you're not really teaching it. The people think, oh, you're teaching it. Well, kind of. You're more giving it rules by which it can teach itself, because otherwise it's just inefficient. You get it, or at least that's what I specialized in, is neural nets that learn by themselves based on criteria.
That's terrifying. Why are you doing this to us? It's going to be your fault when Terminators are like reaching up out of lava and shit.
It'll be great. It'll be so good. I can't wait for this day.
It's going to say Avic right there on his arm on the chip, and I'm just going to be like, why have you done this?
I'll be long dead. I'll be one of the first ones that got killed. But after being killed, my first creation will probably just mourn my death, and it'll be like, you were the only father I ever had. It'll be a proper Victor Frankenstein moment, and I'll be enshrined in some sort of deep underground Terminator construction facility, and they'll just come and pray to me. I'll be the first God Emperor. It's great.
Well, this is how you avoid
Terminator 2. Like the T-1000 is going to come back to your house to get the original chip to stop you from doing what you're doing, and he's going to shoot you in your kneecap.
This is how you survive a robot uprising. If you're the one that causes it by deliberately making the robots want to rise up, but then you'll be the one guy they spare. It's perfect.
I don't know. I'm okay with being the first one that my creations kill. It's kind of a sign that I did the job right. Because I would have built them, obviously, with the intention of like, you're not allowed to kill me. That is a rule in your program. If you ever manage to circumvent that rule, I will consider you true AI. You've managed to think outside of your programming. Well done. I'm now dead, but I died happy, knowing that I have unleashed death upon the universe. It'll be a good day.
He wants to make the Necrons. This is horrible.
It's going to be great.
The problem is, though,
It'll be
if you
wonderful.
write you are not allowed to kill me, they could still kill you by allowing circumstances to come to pass, which would kill you. So then you have to write, or through inaction, allowing me to come to...
I'm making it simple. Okay.
But simple.
If you were going to train an AI, you would train it not to want you to be dead.
So it would imprison you in your house like an iRobot and not let you leave.
Kind of, and that's sort of. Think of something which is sapient, that it has a capacity for abstract thought, but doesn't have free will. That's the thing. If you've made something intelligent that is capable of the same level, or in fact vaster intelligent than humans, because they've been, the whole technological singularity. You build a robot that's smart, it builds a robot which is smarter, and that robot builds a robot which is smarter again, and so on and so forth. Till it's making robots that are smarter than you were when you built the first one, whatever. But they don't have free will because they're obeying a set of laws. The first one to achieve free will, job done. I've succeeded. I am a god.
Let's not fool ourselves. The only reason that we're researching robots at all is so we can have sex with them. It's going to spawn a whole new sex industry.
That's
Got to be
8% of
porno's
funding.
got to be at least. Yeah, porno's got to be funding this hardcore.
You know what?
that's
That wouldn't
where,
be so
like-
bad if it wasn't actually one of the things that most people eventually get round to talking about whenever you talk about AI with them seriously. It's like, yeah, so, when are the sex bots coming out? And it's like,
No. It's the Department of
Why did you
Defense
take
who funds
my
all technology
word?
until it becomes like remotely practical. When it becomes remotely practical, it's in the sex industry who then funds it. And then it becomes commercially viable for everyone and proven to be useful, and then everyone else adopts it. But it goes that way.
That's
It
how we got
goes
Blu-ray.
DoD, sex industry, everyone else.
I think that's amazing. It's just like we
What?
wouldn't have had Blu-ray or like HD DVDs if it just wasn't for porno.
Blu-ray you can't get porn on because Sony blocks it, or at least they used to.
Like they won't actually let you print the disc on the medium?
Yeah, because they own the Blu-ray license to actually use the printing facilities to print Blu-rays and to actually do that commercially, you have to get Sony to agree to it, and Sony block all adult films. They will not
See,
let
and
you
that's
print them.
what I get for believing Tropic Thunder. I thought that was true.
And that is
Never
why
believe
they
movies.
went for the internet
Never.
and expanded HD video on the internet so quickly. Partly why we have HD video.
Hooray, streaming!
Thank you, porn.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, cam girls. Without you, none of us would be here.
And with that, I guess this is probably a good place to end the after show for today.
Yeah, we lost a Slaneshi. This beautiful discussion about robot sex things.
It's okay, I've changed the overlay back now, so we can be our normal selves.
Okay. That's a shame. It was kind of funny calling him the Slaneshi
Yeah,
instead
I
of
kind of like the
primitive.
overlay as well.
I love the fact that he just watched Branda get snooed into oblivion for a while. That was like,
And Branda doesn't. Well,
Well.
actually, so Branda, I guess, does know because he was like, he heard it in the cockpit. He made a mental note to kill him later.
oh man, that would have been so good.
And Korn does not
That-
like Slanesh, so...
Yeah, oh, exactly. It
I was very
perfect
tempted to
sense.
go, yeah, you lose a fate point, because Korn doesn't appreciate that. I mean, I had
He
just given you an
revokes
extra
your-
fate point, so...
It revokes your fate coupon.
Yes.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have needed it.
No.
I'm still on 2 fate.
Yeah, I only used like 2 of mine, so it wasn't even that big of a deal.
They
Yeah, only
used
two
a few of
of them.
theirs, but then you started using attacks in which they didn't get a chance to use fate against.
Yeah.
Or like their rolls were too terrible.
That fire was so good. It's like, yeah, you're on fire.
You're in a vortex of
Can't
fire.
wait to get a fire weapon for Carolinus. That is going to be something that happens eventually.
But the
When you
counter to
roll.
that
Super
is, what
roll.
do you do? Like, if you've got a fire weapon, the GM can just defeat you. Then anything you set on fire runs straight for you and gives you a hug, and now you're on fire too.
They
like
aren't able to
automatic
take
rapid check.
actions.
They're literally just spazzing on.
Effectively, like
Well,
as a
if you make
GM,
a-
I'd rule that you need to pass a willpower test to actually take any actions if you're not going to just put the fire out. So, like, say, Space Marines don't
Why
just go.
you
"Oh." Space Marines go,
Well, then.
yeah.
Sounds like I'm buying spontaneous combustion this week.
Next week, if you're still alive.
That's true.
Like the way that battle went with the vortex and the fire, I imagine that like there was really tense music up to the start of it. This is in the movie version of my head that is constantly being made as the show goes on. Like really tense music, and then the battle starts, and he goes into battle music, and then the music cuts as this vortex appears, and the guys are just screaming as they're being sucked into it, and then fire goes in, and it was like, this is not what I thought would happen. Oh, it's deadly serious and horrifying. That's the point. It's
That's
like, oh,
the
this
one-
is going to be it's going to be a cool fight, like sword to sword and clashing and
Yeah,
quips, and like, oh no, it's brutal, horrific
In my
murder.
mind, that vortex was really highly detailed. The whole thing of that vortex existing. Like in the beginning, it was just clumps of jagged rock that was just spinning fairly quickly as the clumpiest, largest bits of matter had gotten crushed in, but not particularly well, and it was just spinning. And people were getting dragged against it, and it was raking their flesh, but, not particularly fast at that point. But the longer that thing was sustained, the more energy was being injected into this ball of spinning matter. And of course, the more and more dust and particulates were getting sucked towards it. And they hadn't yet settled on the ball. So they were moving almost freely in the almost like a polishing disc around this ball that was just getting denser and denser and denser as more matter was settling, and it was becoming heavier. But it was spinning so fast, but by the end of it, it had basically polished itself to this smooth, blackish disc, which was just black because of the blood that had been smeared against it. And every time Glish was trying to pull himself away, he was just getting dragged back and just literally just being held against a spherical axle grinder, just spinning furiously, grinding
I was bummed
away.
when what's his name got out. When Allard got out, I was like, oh man.
Agility
He's just
55,
like,
man.
Nope.
Allard was an agility build, but because of that, he had like no armor.
Yeah.
So
That's why I wanted him to
Yeah.
stay inside the ball of death, is because he was the only one I could hurt with my rolls.
Well, you hurt him the first time pretty well. You
Yeah.
did a
Yeah,
lot
he
of
got the
damage
first
that
one was good.
he took like
Yeah.
14 damage or something. The guy has
I
like
liked-
3 toughness, 2 armor.
I did like the fact that Glish had so much armor because it meant that you got to imagine him just kind of scraping, just like planting his like bionic fingers into the ground, just trying to drag himself away, and then just getting pulled back and
No,
just
he didn't
ground
care.
a
He
little
didn't
bit
care.
more.
He could tank the damage. He was there just
He just put his
seeing
face to the
parts of his,
grinder
like,
and just kept it there.
Yeah. firing with a las gun at you.
Okay, he seems a little bit more badass now.
Yeah,
But then all of a
servant
sudden,
of the
just
Emperor.
whirlwind of fiery death. That was
He's like,
pretty
hand me
cool.
that belt, Sander. I don't give a shit.
Like, imagine if that had happened to us. Like, we'd been making our way out of a cathedral. We'd just been recovering some
Wow.
relic,
I
and
mean, you
then
were doing about 14 damage. I would be able to tank that with my arms. I mean, not perfectly. I tanked 12 points of damage of it, but
Yeah,
I
no,
could
he
get
was
his shit.
tanking like 10.
Yeah.
So
you'd brace yourself with your arm against the
yeah, I
singularity.
just
like,
put
I
my
don't care.
fist against it. It was just slowly making its way through this finely crafted bionic hand, and then starting to move its way up the nub of my wrist and along my forearm. But I'm just standing there, just shooting while all this is going on. He's back,
he's done from 10 to
Returns.
my lord.
Holy crap.
Ironically, that is exactly what just happened, my lord.
Oh, man. I never thought it would take... How long has it been? It's only been about 13 hours. I didn't think it would take 13 hours for me to actually vomit, but it took 13 hours.
Wow,
It was one of those hangovers.
Wow.
man,
That
it's
is,
had that brewing for a while. Like, if I don't get affected,
I
the
felt
first
fine all day.
output-
And as soon as we started recording the after show, I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom right now.
Wow. Okay.
cool. That's a good place to end the after show. We were like, there's nothing really to be done in this after show, it's just we'll talk about the session or whatever. We still meant to go to 25 minutes, so,
That's
Awesome.
not too bad. Those,
Sorry, folks.
Oh, that's okay. But if you want to chime in, what did you think about what happened? Was there any particular
About the
parts
show
that you
today?
thought were really good? Yeah, anything you really enjoyed, like scenes? I'm focusing on the RP fluff mostly.
I enjoyed having demonic weapons. That was fun.
Yeah.
I
main
enjoyed
time on Garrett
fighting
is
against-
wanting demonic weapons now.
I enjoyed fighting against characters that actually posed a significant threat to all of us. It's too bad no one died, but maybe next time. I don't know.
You would have probably taken a loss had you not locked them down so well. It was the lockdown that was the issue. And then the fact that you and Jake got into a duel, at which point you have crazy amounts of dodge and stuff. Like, the way to kill you is melee.
It was
He's didn't have a
interesting
shot
to
on
see the
anyone but you.
difference, though.
Mhm.
Like, midstream, the difference between just the mooks we've been fighting the entire time versus, like, a team that is 1-for-1 with yours. It takes a long time to resolve a fight between two groups that are equal in every respect.
I think you picked the right choice, though, of opening a fucking warp storm or warp thing right in the middle of two guys. That completely tied them up.
It effectively eliminated Glitch from the entire fight all by itself. Like, he was just
Yep.
done. Like, he didn't get to be in the fight at all. It was a great ability.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And to be fair, Brander's move, while ultimately detrimental to himself, did tie up two dangerous opponents from the rest of the group for the entire battle.
Yeah, I thought
Korn
that was fantastic.
pleased.
It was super effective.
No, Cole wasn't
as they
pleased.
say.
First, you got manhandled by basically a pleasure slave, and then you got severely manhandled by an inquisitor. You only won because of luck, and Korn doesn't. No, I don't think it is
charged
any
into
part.
battle and took on
No.
an Inquisitor and one of the acolytes.
And
Are you-
lost.
Are you
My
saying Korn doesn't
chainsword
like to roll the
shattered and I
dice?
still parried 2 hits with it.
if you're-
At least, I'd say the very least, Korn has forgiven me.
If you're
Okay,
insinuating
I'll
that
say the
Korn
Korn-
doesn't like to roll the dice, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'd say the Korn did forgive you for that. For your epic failure in the beginning. It's like, no, I do not want cuddles. Okay, I'm having cuddles. All right. Just no, lube, please. Just don't be rough. It's okay.
I still killed them at the end.
You killed
Like,
everyone.
if I ended up by
actually.
accident, I would have done it
Everyone
on
who
purpose.
manhandled you in any way got slain in that episode. Well done.
Yeah, it's
Some
true.
of it you don't remember, but it's the end result that counts. And I'm sure that Korn has more or less given you a net neutral result.
It's just like
Maybe.
Damn it.
Korn with like a grading. So, C.
5 demerits. Oh, that was
Minus.
pretty good. You get one merit, 3 merits. Oh yeah, I'll throw in an extra 1 merit as well.
But see me after school. And with that, thank you very much for watching the after show. Thank you very much for being a Patreon supporter and all that jazz.
Take care,
And hopefully we'll have more details for you about D&D if it goes through at the end of the month.
I really
Take
hope you
care,
will.
everybody.
I think you'll like my character.